Oh, yeah, boy, it was too loud.
Damn, son.
Jimmy, I remember Basie. You got excited. Drums were too loud, and from there on, everybody played too loud the rest of the set, and it carried over into Saturday. Everything.
I will take the blame.
Saturday. I was cursing class, but sometimes I do. I can be a little crotchety at times, but sometimes they're just asking for it. And this band actually seems to need that. They don't listen to me fully otherwise. It has to do with some of those personalities you've been filming all semester, right? Probably. Yeah. Here in Austin, we are like fabulously lucky. There are so many talented people around. So it's phenomenal wealth of talent. We get 16-year-olds, 85-year-olds, and everything in between.
I get treated with just as little respect as anybody else would get, you know? Which is fine with me. Mentally, I'm still only about 20 years old when it comes to the music. I played during high school, a little bit in college, and then I dropped it for about 50 years. I started playing the clarinet, oddly enough, to play for my dad's funeral.
Okay. Oh, wow, okay.
And realized how much I'd gone backwards. I took out my old tenor and blew on it, and the pads fell off because I hadn't used it for a long time. Taking that course, 3 times a year for 9 times.
9 times.
Yeah, I can't graduate. Like I say, by the time I die, I want to sound as good as I thought I was when I was 18. Okay.
Because I think everyone's interested in music, age doesn't factor into it. You know, if you're a musician and you want to get better, you can always talk about music. I've never ever had any problems with students, young or old, coming in and just feeling like they're isolated, they don't know anybody.
Last semester, I didn't really have anyone who was willing to help me, even though I was sitting there struggling the whole time. I feel proud of having the balls to be able to actually try out for this band, because I wouldn't expect myself to. I'm pretty shy most of the time. I try to hide it and be outgoing, but it doesn't work most of the time, especially in music, because I know I'm behind. I know I don't know a lot. So it's hard to keep up in conversation with talented musicians and experienced musicians. And I'm really proud of myself for trying and doing it again, even after last semester, knowing how difficult it was.
Ashlyn's awesome. She rides in with her brothers who are ACC students, I believe. She's a high school senior in Johnson City. So it's not like she even lives in Austin. She comes in specifically for this.
But my favorite is John.
Ashlyn?
He's really good at what he does, and he doesn't boast about it, but he's old enough so he can say what he wants and get away with it. So I think that's really cool how he knows that he's good, and he helps me a lot.
And we're not hugging yet, but we have bonded. She's great. It's great to see young people getting into a more challenging situation and stepping up and making it happen.
When people want to audition for my group, the first thing I do, I say, great, love to hear you. Email me. That's the first test because a lot of people don't follow up. And I figure any of my students, I want students that are committed and they're there. That's the second test. Then I know they're committed and they have some responsibility and they're really interested in doing it. So that's kind of my screening process for students. So whether they're, looking to be music majors or whether they're just interested in playing, there is a certain level of commitment to the band that's required.
I've been sort of half-assing music since I was about 12 years old, and about 2 or 3 years ago I had just this massive life shift where all of a sudden all I did was play music. I did a totally crappy job at my audition, but I knew Steven Sodders because I had taken his music theory class, and I did the audition. He was like really supportive. He was like, just take a semester of lessons and then come sing with the band, and like you'll be fine.
I mean, I throw a lot of stuff at them right off the bat at the beginning of the semester. But to be a professional musician, you have to be able to read music. You have to. I have sat in a band and sight read entire sets, entire shows. You just have to be able to do that. So one of my chief goals for this ensemble is that we read a lot of music all semester long. We put it together 24 charts every semester.
I'm not a great reader. I've always depended on practice to make up the difference.
I know how to read music, but my sight reading's not very good.
No. I'm not a beginner at sight reading. I'm just not very strong at it. It was definitely not my strong suit. Now I've definitely improved it with his expert tutelage.
I've been singing for a really long time. I've mostly been singing classical, and then I got into musical theater, and then it was here at ACC that I found out about jazz ensembles and jazz singing, because before this I honestly never really heard jazz music before.
Found my love in Avalon, beside the bay. I left my love in Avalon and sailed away.
I love scatting, but the scats are actually written into this piece, so you want to make sure that you're singing every single note that the composer wrote, and that's, I guess, the difficult part, since it's not very melodic. So you're just like, oh, that sounds right, I think.
I don't expect a classical player to know how to swing yet, but can they read? Well, that's something we can work with. If they can read, then I can teach them how to swing. If they play really well by ear but can't read, there is a minimum level of reading ability that has to be there. Can you prepare this part in a week? Can you work this up? And some of them spend more time doing that than others, but if they're committed, then that's okay. I can work with that. They can hear what they're supposed to be playing. They just need to put the dots together on the page. My goals for the ensemble is to expose them to all kinds of big band music, including music that has been recorded professionally in the past by the great bands and the great singers of the day. And so we play professional level charts. And so they do have their work cut out for them, and they respond really well to challenges. They're like, they can hear when things are going wrong when they first read through the pieces. They can hear what they need to work on. Overall, the hardest lesson to learn as a professional musician is that you have to be musical all the time.
He's super diligent. Like, I remember taking his, I don't know, like, if he sleeps or anything, because, like, when I took his theory class, he would have homework every day. It was graded by the next day. Everything was, like, just on the mark. And now I'm, like, learning all these other things that he also does really, like, religiously, and it's really impressive, honestly. And he's also just a genius.
Down, down, down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's very ambitious, and he takes on a lot of projects, which is really cool. He's a great teacher. He's, I don't know.
I was a trombonist in high school, and I also got interested in composition and arranging at that time. So when I went to college, I decided to double major in both, and kind of started leaning more towards composition as a major. And it's really a challenge to make a living as a composer. So graduate school seemed like the thing to do, because all the composers I knew taught college in addition to their composition activities. So my dad was also a professor, a longtime theater professor, and so it just seemed like a natural route.
It was very positive in the way that he criticizes. He doesn't criticize. He illuminates what it is you're supposed to be doing. And you don't respond, and then he shows the proper amount of impatience. When I say proper, I mean he doesn't get nasty, but you can tell it's time to pay attention.
Souders is God, make him president.
Oh, I'm a virtuoso. I have other genres that I can play through. Jazz is just one of my cards in my hat.
On guitar, I cannot hear your solos, Saturday, but I can hear you every other time. Well, exactly the opposite of what it should have been.
I kind of just walked in there with a prepared song that he wanted me to play, and he instead, after he heard me play it, pulled it and put in another sheet of music and was like, play this. And I was like, oh, okay. And at that point in time, I wasn't that strong of a reader, but it was enough for me to get by. And he was like, okay, yeah, you're in. I was like, really? Okay. I thought I completely bombed it. My father is a bassist, and he realized that I was doing well in school, and he wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, anything but a musician. So I, very steadfastly kept playing guitar because it really upset him, going, you could do anything else with your life. Why do you have to play guitar?
That's perfect. I've always done your bit, although in close detail. Yet when things get tough, you turn and tuck your tail, 'cause I found hell.
I couldn't go out and play with my friends unless I told them what the fifth of C was. I couldn't go outside and play or even do my homework in some cases without telling him what, like, the sixth of D or the seventh of G sharp, just so he knew that I had the abilities to understand music in more than just a let's play way.
I've played with Andre on a gig. He's been here in Austin for a number of years. He's was a New York-based player, but he's originally from Houston and went to the Houston School of Visual and Performing Arts. And actually, it's Houston School of Performing and Visual Arts. But Andre played with Wynton Marsalis and Jazz at Lincoln Center for a long time. Then he came down. I think he taught some at North Texas, and he taught at UT. What's funny is I had already picked Spain, which is Chick Corea tune, for the band to play. So now they're nervous because it's a challenging chart. He's coming off of tour with Chick Corea himself, and he's going to be playing Spain with the band. So it's kind of thrilling for them and also a little scary, though.
Show us where the greats are at, and just off the top of his head.
What were you feeling when he was playing his own kinds of music? When he was
soloing?
Yeah.
Awe-inspired. I was kind of sitting, well, most of the time he was pointing directly at me, so I was watching him the whole time. I was sitting there just jamming, playing to him, you know. It was, I was just sitting there going, wow, music like this exists. Wow, truly, I was impressed.
We had a ball tonight, and the kids did wonderful job to Stephen Sodders, and it was just a success tonight. Really enjoyed it.
Starts the second set with a tune written by Jimmy Fenno's dad, Dick Fenno, who was a longtime arranger in California. We love doing his dad's work. A lot of his dad's arrangements are specifically for educational purposes, so they work great for our group. They're wonderful and they're just fun to play.
Jimmy and I are close. We are family. When I say close, I mean he and I at one point in time had a band, and now we don't. So you know, it's kind of the internal family dynamic.
So that's when I started playing drums when I was 8 years old. My father was an arranger, composer. Dick Fenno is his name. He's still out there in the world, not physically, but his music is. He didn't want me to be a drummer. In fact, he wouldn't let me touch his drums. He was a drummer, and his ideas about me was that I would follow sort of in his footsteps, even though he had really big feet.
Most of them are like trying to get their shit together. Not only as a musician, but just general in life. I mean, you come out of high school and suddenly you're trying to figure out what your adult life's going to be, what you want to be, who you are, what you're going to do. And sometimes some of them are going through a little upheaval in their lives, and they don't put in the time in the band that's necessary to learn their parts. And I remember being young. I remember figuring, oh my God, my mom came in and said, when are you moving out? And I was like, hadn't even thought about it yet. Here I go, and how am I going to make this happen?
They come to make some love and break some hearts, and I found a better way.
Describe playing with Sammy as playing with a work of art. You're kind of sitting there going, oh wow, it's so easy, that's nice.
About 3 years ago, I used to be a truck driver. I drove tractor trailers. I woke up, I had to go to work at 2 in the morning. I went in at 2 on Tuesdays, and I just called my boss at 2 in the morning, and I was like, yeah, so I'm not coming into work. I was driving to work, and then when I got home, I was my ex-fiance, but I was like, hey, don't be mad. I just quit my job. I'm gonna do music. She's like, we'll talk about it in the morning. So I kind of lost everything. I lost my car. I lost my apartment. Lost my, obviously ex-fiance, but whatever. Good riddance. But so I kind of lost a lot of who I was and what I had built up to that point, and so I had to kind of start over. I quit my job and I just started doing music full time. I did that for 2 years, and I got by. I survived all right, but it was tough.
Sammy's playing reminds me a little of the ragtime stuff I would hear at Shakey's Pizza when my dad would take us when we were kids. They had a player piano there, and it would play. Yeah.
The thing I'm most afraid of when it comes to performance is that I'm just gonna make a really dumb mistake, and it's just gonna be really obvious. I don't know, but I usually don't. So I don't know. But like I said, I don't really get nervous too much anymore.
This is a love song, and if you don't mind, I want to dedicate it to my girlfriend, Nix. She was there yesterday, but it's her birthday. It's her birthday. Oh, when we are one, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. If there's a cloud up above us, go on, let it rain. I'm sure our love together could endure a hurricane. Oh, my baby. Who walks in when I walk out? Don't you know you're my baby? Who's a who? Got me worrying.
I was was more nervous for the one yesterday, and I kind of knew it would be like this. Like I'd be like nervous before it, and I'd be like, thank you, that's his, but thank you, maybe I'll eat it. Then I would be like really nervous and like I'm gonna mess up completely. It's gonna be the worst, and then it would go fine. And then today I would like be relaxed about it. So that's kind of how it is.
Easy to kind of slack off a little, but yeah, overall it feels really great.
Love in Avalon, beside the bay. I left my love in Avalon and sailed away. I dream of him and Avalon from dusk till dawn. So I think I'll travel on to Avalon. My love in Avalon. My love in
You gotta kind of accept the nervousness at first and just like let it be part of what you're doing, because nervous energy and excitement are kind of like really similar, so it's hard to like force yourself into one direction or the other. But I think if they get out and play a lot and make a lot of mistakes, allow themselves to make mistakes, allow themselves to screw up, don't take themselves too seriously, and then that's really all it takes, I think.
Be a lady tonight. But to be a lady tonight. But if you've ever been a lady to begin with, I could be a lady tonight.
I get a lot out of it. I'm learning a lot of different kinds of things, but I'm not just like, oh, that ACC Stage Ensemble show changed my life. Like, I don't know. So that's my honest answer, I guess.
You look pretty today.
You look pretty too.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. Do you know jokes?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe next time. There I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. Pretty baby, you are the soul who snaps my control.
About loving me, my sweet, I'm not afraid, not anymore, not like before. Can't you understand me? Now baby, please pull yourself together. Do it soon.
A lady doesn't leave her escort. It isn't nice. No, that's not fair.
one for me personally yet, and maybe for everybody.
Yeah, it was a really fun show. What do you have planned for next semester? Are you going to be doing this again?
I was just talking to Sandy about that. I'm still deciding. So if I do it again, I'll want to like probably switch off between voice and guitar more, because guitar is my main thing, but I have to like make myself practice singing in a real way by like signing up for things, because otherwise I'll be like, it's fine, I'm fine at it.
We tense when it came to the Andre Hayward show, but when it came to the Kick Butt Coffee show, we calmed down a little bit more. This one we got really calm and we got really in depth with what we were doing. So yeah, I really appreciated this one.
I was wondering, now that this semester is winding down, what are your plans for the future?
Well, I'm transferring to UT in the fall, so I'll be doing that and just preparing and trying to get a degree in music.
Well, I'll probably be in the band again if Stephen lets me.
I'm going to finish up my time at ACC, then go over to Texas State, but while I'm at Texas State, still continuing to take classes with Sodders in the stage ensemble specifically.
I'll re-enlist for the band and just do it as a self-development course, because I can always use some self-development.
The one thing I love about teaching is that the more you learn that there's way more to learn. You're never done learning, in other words. One thing I've noticed, the best students don't realize how good they are. I've had really nothing but great experience with the students at ACC. They are very committed and serious about what they're doing, because at 10 o'clock at night, some of those players are going to the practice room and they're going to play some more.
It's good to go out and play music and not get caught up with like how much better you could be, but just to kind of be happy with where you're at and like feel like that's good enough to go out there and hang out with people and have a good time.
What does family mean? It means we communicate with each other, we are tolerant of each other, and we support each other. Well, how do you support the guy sitting next to you? You listen to what he's playing and you blend with him.
Give you anything but love. It's the only thing that can
Long as I can hold my hi-hat, I'm gonna sing for you and sing this beautiful hi-hat. Thank you, y'all. It was a great year.